It feels like you're always paying for something, because you are. And I don't mean that to stress you out. I mean it literally, mathematically, statistically. If you sat down right now, like right now, paused this video, opened your bank app, and scrolled through the last 30 days of transactions, I want you to think about what you'd see. Would there be a single day where nothing left to your account? Probably not. And here's the weird thing. Most of those charges, you didn't consciously think about them. You didn't sit down, open your wallet, pull out cash, and hand it to someone. No. It just happened. Quietly. In the background. While you were sleeping. While you were at work. While you were watching something on one of the 5 streaming platforms you pay for. Money leaves your life constantly now. And it's not because you're reckless. It's not because you have no self-control. It's because the entire modern financial world has been redesigned. Specifically, deliberately, and brilliantly, to make sure that money is always on its way out. And we're going to talk about all of it today. Why it happens, how it happens, what it does to your brain, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So grab something to drink, get comfortable, because this one's going to hit close to home. Let's start with the feeling, because you know the feeling I'm talking about. It's the 1st of the month, or maybe the 15th, or honestly, any random Tuesday.
I'm always
You
paying
check your
something.
bank account, not because you think something's wrong, just a casual scroll, and you notice the number is lower than you expected. Not dramatically lower, not I can't pay rent lower. Just lower. Lower than it should be. Lower than it feels like it should be, given that you haven't really done anything. You haven't gone on a trip. You haven't bought anything big. You've been eating at home most nights. You've been responsible, or at least you thought you were. And yet, the number is lower, so you look a little closer. And you start to see it. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, the gym membership you keep meaning to cancel, the cloud storage subscription that upgraded itself to the next tier without you noticing, the app you downloaded 6 months ago that had a free trial and then quietly started charging you $9.99 a month when you forgot to cancel, the food delivery service, the news site, the software subscription, the monthly box that you keep getting because canceling it feels like more work than just letting it keep coming. And you sit there looking at this list and you feel this very specific kind of frustration. Not rage, not panic. Just this low-grade, buzzing, slightly helpless feeling of, where is it all going? That feeling has a name. I'd call it subscription fatigue. And it's real. And it's extremely common. And it's not an accident. Here's the reality of modern life that nobody really explained to us clearly enough. We have moved from an ownership economy to an access economy. And that one shift has changed everything about how money flows out of your life. Think about what ownership used to look like. You bought a CD, you own the music, forever. You bought a movie on DVD, you own the movie, forever. You bought software on a disc, installed it on your computer, and you had it. Done. One payment, finished. That model is almost entirely gone now. Instead, you pay for access. You pay for the right to use something for as long as you keep paying. Stop paying, and the access disappears. The music library vanishes. The movies disappear. The software stops working. The files become inaccessible. Now, in a lot of ways, this is actually more convenient. You get more variety, you get updates, you get new content constantly. I'm not here to tell you that subscriptions are evil. They're not. Some of them are genuinely great values. But the system was not designed with your financial health as the priority. The subscription model was designed to maximize something called recurring revenue. And it does that by making sure you keep paying every month, forever. Or until the friction of canceling becomes lower than the cost of continuing, which, for most of us, takes way longer than it should. Because they've made canceling inconvenient. They've buried the cancel button 5 menus deep. They've made you call a customer service line during business hours. They've offered you a discounted month to try to keep you. They've made you feel like you're losing something by leaving. Meanwhile, signing up takes approximately 8 seconds, a few taps, and your credit card number that your phone has memorized. The game is rigged. And we all agreed to play it. Let's actually break down where your money goes. Not in a vague, hand-wavy way. Let's get specific, because I think specificity is what makes this feel real. Start with the big one: housing, rent, or mortgage. This is the one everyone accepts. It's the largest recurring payment in most people's lives, and we've mentally categorized it as just the cost of existing. Which, fair. You need somewhere to live. But notice that it's recurring. Notice that it's monthly. Notice that it never stops. Then utilities. Electric, gas, water, internet, phone. These are the second tier of accepted recurring payments.
I can't
the
handle
ones that
these
feel so
payments
fundamental
anymore. The
that we
rent,
barely
the
even
credit
register
card, it
them
just
as
keeps
choices
piling
anymore.
up.
And then
I
we
don't
get
know
into
what
the
to
interesting
do.
territory. The stuff that's accumulated quietly over months and years without you ever having a single moment where you sat down and said, yes, I want to commit to spending this much on subscriptions every month. Streaming. You've got Netflix, probably, maybe HBO Max or whatever they're calling it this week, Disney Plus because of one show, or because you have kids, or because someone got you into it, Hulu, possibly, Spotify or Apple Music for the music, YouTube Premium because the ads were unbearable, maybe a podcast app, maybe an audiobook service like Audible. Let's be conservative and say that's 5 streaming services. At an average of about $9 a month each, that's $45 a month, $540 a year, just on entertainment streaming. But we're just getting started. Apps. Oh, the apps. The note-taking app with the premium tier. The meditation app you used for 2 weeks in January, the fitness app you downloaded before you joined the gym, the photo editing app, the VPN, the cloud storage, probably Apple iCloud or Google One because your phone ran out of space and upgrading storage was easier than deleting photos. The password manager, the budgeting app, which, yes, you're paying to track the money, you're also paying for everything else. That's another $30, $40, $50 a month, depending on what you've got running. Food, not groceries, the subscriptions around food. The delivery service membership, maybe DoorDash, DashPass, or Uber One, or both, because you got a deal. The meal kit subscription that you signed up for during that phase when you were going to start cooking properly. The coffee subscription, the vitamin subscription, the snack box subscription. Now we're looking at another $20 to $80 a month, depending on your habits. And then the one-offs that aren't really one-offs. The software that auto-renews annually and hits you with a $60 or $90 charge that feels like a punch because you forgot about it. The domain you bought for a side project you never started. The online course platform you joined when you were going to learn something. The news site you subscribed to because they had a Black Friday deal of $1 a month for 3 months. And then it quietly became $15 a month when the trial ended. Add it up. Seriously. Add it all up. Most people, when they actually do this exercise, find somewhere between $200 and $500 a month in recurring subscriptions and services that they were not consciously tracking. And for a lot of people, it's even more. $200 a month is $2,400 a year. $500 a month is $6,000 a year. $6,000, that's a vacation. That's a small emergency fund. That's months of retirement savings. That's real money, disappearing in amounts so small that each individual payment felt harmless. And that's exactly what we need to talk about. The psychology behind why this works so well on our brains. Because this isn't just about companies being sneaky. It's about human psychology. And specifically, it's about a few very powerful quirks in how our brains process money. The first one is something I'll call the invisible spending effect. When you pay in cash, there's a moment of physical transaction, you hand over something real, you feel the loss. Psychologically, this is called the pain of paying. It's a real phenomenon studied by behavioral economists. When the payment is physical, the pain is higher, and we tend to spend less. Digital payments, and especially automatic payments, eliminate the pain almost entirely. There's no moment of transaction, no handing over anything, no feeling of loss. The money just moves. And because our brains didn't evolve to feel the pain of numbers changing in a database somewhere, we don't register it the same way. It's the same reason people consistently spend more on credit cards than cash. Not because credit cards are evil, but because the psychological barrier between you and the spending is lower. Now apply that to subscriptions. Not only are they digital payments, they're automatic digital payments. You don't even make the decision each month. The decision was made once, and then it just keeps happening forever. Without your conscious involvement, your brain has essentially categorized these payments as fixed costs, like rent. Mentally, they've moved out of the decisions column and into the facts of life column. And once something is in the facts of life column, you stop questioning it. The second quirk is about anchoring in small amounts. When Netflix charges you $15 a month, your brain doesn't think $15. Your brain thinks 50 cents a day. And 50 cents a day sounds incredibly reasonable for the amount of entertainment you get. This is how subscriptions are often advertised, broken down to the smallest possible unit to make them seem trivial. But here's the thing. The math actually works against you when you're looking at your total picture, because you're doing the 50 cents a day calculation for every single subscription individually. You're not adding them up and calculating that together. They're costing you $4 a day or $6 a day. Each subscription wins the comparison in isolation, but in aggregate, you're losing. The third quirk is loss aversion combined with sunk cost thinking. Once you've paid for something, canceling it feels like losing it, even if you're barely using it. You paid for the subscription, which means you have access to that library, that feature, that content. Canceling feels like throwing that away, so you keep it. Even when keeping it just means paying for something you're not using. The rational thing is to cancel. The human thing is to keep paying because it feels like you'd be losing something. This is why subscription companies love reminding you of your usage history. You've saved 47 hours with DoorDash DashPass, they tell you. They're activating your loss aversion, They're making the value feel real and concrete, so that the potential loss of canceling feels very real and concrete too. And the fourth quirk, this one might be the most powerful, is decision fatigue. Every subscription is a decision you made at some point, but it's also a decision you no longer have to make again. And that is genuinely appealing to your brain because your brain has a limited amount of decision-making energy each day. Subscriptions feel like convenience, like automation, like one less thing to think about. And that feeling is real. The problem is you've automated the spending out of your active awareness, which means you've also automated away your ability to control it. Here's why it all feels worse today than it ever has before. And it's not in your head. Things genuinely have gotten more expensive and more complicated. The first reason is the sheer number of services that exist now. In 2005, your recurring monthly payments were probably rent, utilities, maybe a cable bill, maybe a cell phone. 4 categories. Today, there are subscription services for literally everything: socks, razors, dog food, books, plants, candles, art prints, vitamins, wine, meditation, therapy, skincare, journaling apps, habit trackers, focus music, learning platforms, password managers, task managers, sleep trackers. Every single problem someone had has been turned into a subscription service. And every single one of those services was designed by a team of smart, motivated people whose entire job is to get you to sign up and stay signed up. You are one person. They are thousands of people with billions of dollars of funding, with psychological research and conversion rate optimization and behavioral data, and they are all competing for a piece of your monthly budget. The second reason is that digital payments have made spending nearly invisible. Tap to pay, one-click checkout, autofill credit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal. The friction of spending is at an all-time low. And remember what we said about friction. Less friction means more spending. Amazon famously created the one-click purchase button specifically to reduce friction to the absolute minimum. They patented it. It was so effective at increasing purchases that it became one of the most valuable patents in e-commerce history. The entire industry learned from that and has been removing friction ever since. Now your phone can make purchases faster than you can consciously decide whether you want to make them, which means a lot of purchases happen before the rational part of your brain has fully weighed in. The third reason is lifestyle inflation. And this one's a little uncomfortable to say out loud, but we need to. As people's incomes grow, even a little, their subscriptions tend to grow with it. You add Spotify when you get your first real job. You add a streaming service when you get a raise. You upgrade to the premium tier when the features look nice. You sign up for the meal kit when you're feeling a little flush. And none of these feel like big decisions. Each one is small, each one is affordable at the time, but they accumulate, and they don't go away when times are tighter, because canceling takes effort and feels like loss. So your subscriptions expand with your income, but they don't contract when your income tightens. They're sticky in a way that your income isn't. Let me tell you about 2 people, 2 very real archetypes that I think you might recognize. The first one, let's call him Jordan. Jordan is 27, makes a decent salary. Not rich, but Jordan has been on his own for about 4 years. And in those 4 years, he's accumulated what he calls his baseline life costs. Netflix, because everyone has Netflix. Spotify, because he drives a lot and podcasts got old. Amazon Prime, because free shipping is worth it. The gym, because he goes like twice a month, but it's only $30, so whatever. Hulu, because his favorite show is on there. HBO Max, because Game of Thrones prequel. Disney Plus, because he goes to Marvel movies and it felt connected. A cloud storage plan, a VPN, a photo organizing app, a meditation app he opened twice. Uber Eats membership, because the delivery fees are brutal without it. Dash Pass, because sometimes he orders from DoorDash too. A news subscription, a personal finance app. None of these individual decisions seem crazy. Each one has a solid justification. The problem is that Jordan has never once looked at all of them together. He pays them automatically every month from a checking account with autopay set up, and they've become, in his mind, as fixed as rent. When Jordan actually sits down one afternoon, I want you to imagine this scene very clearly, because maybe it's happened to you, and adds them all up for the first time. He finds out he's spending $347 a month on subscriptions, beyond rent, utilities, and food. Just subscriptions. $4,164 a year on services he hasn't fully thought about since he signed up. He stares at that number for a long time. The second person is Maya. Maya is 24. She's in a slightly tighter situation financially. Entry-level job, student loans, living in a city. Maya is pretty careful about money. She doesn't go out much. She tracks her groceries. She doesn't buy designer anything. But Maya also has subscriptions. Not as many as Jordan, but they're there. And here's what's interesting about Maya. She's not subscribed to as many services, but she's a heavy user of apps with microtransactions. Not big purchases, small ones. The premium feature in the app for $1.99, the filter pack in the photo app, the extra storage in the note-taking app, the digital magazine, the one-time in-app purchase that unlocks something she actually wants. And because these aren't subscriptions, because they're technically one-time purchases, Maya doesn't track them the same way. She doesn't add them to the monthly expenses column in her brain, but she makes them constantly. 4 here, 2 there, $9 there, $6 there. In a given month, Maya spends about $90 on these small digital purchases. $90 she's never once sat down and tracked. $90 that has never appeared in her budget. Because in her mind, she doesn't have a spending problem, she just occasionally buys small things. Both Jordan and Maya share the same core issue. Not irresponsibility, not ignorance, but invisible spending. Money leaving in ways that bypass their conscious decision-making. Money that flows because it was once set in motion, and no one ever stopped to turn off the tap. Here's the core insight I want you to take from everything I've just said, and it's going to sound almost too simple. You're not spending too much. You're subscribed to everything. Read that again. Because there's a difference. Spending too much implies a willpower problem, a discipline problem. It implies you need to grit your teeth harder, say no more often, be more controlled. It puts the frame on you as the problem. But subscribe to everything is a system problem. It's a structural issue. It's about the architecture of how your money flows. An architecture that was designed, largely by other people, to make money leave your account constantly and invisibly. And when you reframe it that way, the solution changes completely. You don't need more willpower. You need a better system. Because here's the truth. The subscription economy is not going anywhere. The companies that have built these revenue models are not going to change them for your benefit. The psychological tactics, the friction removal, the loss aversion triggers, the per-day framing, those are not going away either. So the answer is not to be somehow more resistant to all of it through sheer force of character. The answer is to build a system that works with how your brain actually operates, instead of constantly fighting against it. And the good news? The fix is actually pretty simple. It's not complicated. It's not glamorous, but it works. Let's talk about what to actually do. The first thing, and this is the one thing I want you to do before anything else, even before you finish this video, is a subscription audit. A complete, no exceptions, look at everything inventory of every single recurring charge that hits your bank account or credit card. Here's how you do it. Go back 3 months on your bank statement and your credit card statement. Look at every single charge, every one, write down or screenshot or use a notes app, whatever, every recurring charge you find. Name of the service, amount, frequency. Don't judge yourself as you do this. Don't catastrophize. Just collect the data. You can't fix what you can't see. Once you have the full list, sort it into 3 categories. Category 1, essential. This is the stuff you genuinely use regularly that provides real value in your life, and that you'd actually miss if it was gone. Not might miss someday, not theoretically useful. Actually miss. These stay. No guilt about these. Category 2, questionable. Services you use occasionally. Things you kind of want but don't actually use as much as you intended when you signed up. Things you're paying for out of habit, more than genuine value. These need to be evaluated. Ask yourself honestly, if I had to actively choose to pay for this with cash every single month, would I? Category 3, forgotten or unused. Services you had completely forgotten about until you saw the charge. Or services you haven't opened or used in more than 60 days. These go. No negotiation. They go. This one audit, done properly, typically saves people between $50 and $200 a month. And it takes about an hour. The second thing is to rethink your autopay strategy. I'm not going to tell you to cancel all autopay. That's not realistic, and for things like rent and utilities, autopay is genuinely useful. But for discretionary subscriptions, streaming, apps, services, consider switching to manual payment. I know that sounds annoying. Bear with me. When you pay manually, you have to make a conscious decision each month, which means you'll naturally cancel the things you're not using. Because the moment you go to make the payment and realize you haven't opened the app in weeks, the decision to cancel becomes obvious. Autopay removes that moment of reckoning. Manual payment restores it. If full manual payment feels like too much friction, here's a middle ground. Set calendar reminders 3 days before each subscription renews. You get an alert, you check in with yourself. Am I still using this? Does it still feel worth it? And then you either let it go or you make an active choice to cancel. Active choices are what we're going for. Active choice is the opposite of invisible spending. The third thing is to consolidate where you can. A lot of people don't know that some subscriptions include other things. Apple One bundles Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Arcade, iCloud storage, and more. Amazon Prime includes Prime Video, Prime Music, Prime Gaming, unlimited photo storage. Some credit cards include travel memberships, streaming credits, or lounge access as part of their annual fee. Before you subscribe to something new, ask, do I already have this through something else I'm paying for? You might be surprised how often the answer is yes. The fourth thing, and this one is more of a mindset hack than a financial strategy, is to create a subscription ceiling. Decide in advance the maximum you're willing to spend on subscriptions each month. Not the ideal amount, the maximum. Your ceiling, then every time you consider adding something new, you check, would this push me over my ceiling? If yes, something else has to go first. You're not allowed to add without subtracting. This one simple rule prevents the gradual accumulation that's gotten most of us into this situation in the first place. Because we didn't sign up for everything on one day. We added things one at a time, each one seeming reasonable in isolation. The ceiling forces you to always see the total picture. Let me get specific about implementation because I don't want to leave you with just theory. For the subscription audit, do it this week, not someday. This week. Set aside 1 hour, Sunday afternoon, Wednesday evening, whatever works. Just 1 hour, have your bank app or statements open, and go through 3 months. You will find things that surprise you. You will probably find things that genuinely confuse you. Charges from services you don't even remember signing up for. This is normal. This is extremely common. Just find them, list them, categorize them for anything in category 3, unused, forgotten, cancel within 24 hours of finding it. Don't wait. Don't tell yourself you'll get back to it. The reason it's still there is because you kept waiting. Cancel now while the discovery is fresh and the decision is clear. For category 2 services, the questionable ones, set a 30-day trial for yourself. Don't renew them next month. Cancel them and see if you actually miss them. If you genuinely miss a service after a month without it, you now have real data. You actually want it. Resubscribe with confidence. If you don't miss it, you've just saved that money every month going forward. For tracking going forward, pick a method that you'll actually stick with. This can be an app, YNAB, Copilot, Pocket Guard, whatever works for you. Or it can be a simple spreadsheet, or even a note on your phone. The tool matters much less than the habit. You need a place where all your recurring charges are visible in one place, and you need to look at it at least once a month. Once a month. That's all. Schedule it like a bill review. Pick a date, maybe the first of the month, maybe payday, and spend 15 minutes reviewing your subscriptions and making sure nothing has changed without your awareness. For new subscriptions, before you sign up for anything going forward, make it a rule to wait 48 hours. Don't sign up in the moment of impulse. Wait 2 days. If you still want it after 48 hours, sign up. You'll be amazed how many subscription signups you'll just naturally not do. Because the impulse has faded and the free trial pop-up has disappeared from your screen. Here's the mindset shift that ties all of this together. And this is the part I want you to sit with. We've been conditioned to think of subscriptions as normal, as neutral, as just how life works now. And in some ways they are. This is the world we live in. But there's a difference between accepting the world you live in and being unconscious inside it. The problem was never the subscriptions themselves. The problem was the invisibility, the autopilot, the fact that money was leaving your life in ways you weren't actively choosing, you weren't actively monitoring, and you weren't consciously valuing. Money is just energy. It's the physical representation of your time, your effort, your attention. When you spend money, you're trading those hours of your life for something, and that trade should feel intentional. It should be something you're choosing, not something that's just happening. When you pay for Netflix and you spend Saturday night on the couch watching something great, that's an intentional trade. You chose entertainment over something else you could have done with that money. That's fine. That's great. That's exactly how spending is supposed to work. When you pay for Netflix and you can't even remember the last time you opened it, that's not a trade. That's a leak. And your financial life is full of leaks. Plugging the leaks doesn't mean living a smaller life. It doesn't mean giving up things you enjoy. It means making sure that the money leaving your life is going toward things you actually, consciously, intentionally value. And when you do that, when you've done the audit, set the ceiling, switch to active choices, something interesting happens. The anxiety around money starts to ease. Not because you have more money, necessarily, but because you feel like you understand where it's going. Because the invisible becomes visible. Because the autopilot turns off and you're back in the driver's seat. That feeling of control, that clarity, is worth more than any individual subscription you'll ever cancel. I want to leave you with one last thought. Most of us go through life in a kind of financial fog. Not ignorant, exactly. Not irresponsible. Just foggy. Things are happening that we know are happening, but we're not fully paying attention to. Money is moving in ways we've set up and then stopped questioning. And the fog isn't your fault. It was deliberately engineered. Every frictionless payment, every auto renew, every per day pricing, that's not coincidence. That's design. Those are decisions made by teams of very smart people to make the fog as thick and comfortable as possible. But you can choose to step out of the fog. And the first step is exactly what we've talked about today. Look at the numbers, all of them, together at the same time. Because the second you see the full picture, the second you see what $347 a month in subscriptions actually looks like over a year, over 5 years, over a decade, something clicks. Something in your brain shifts from passive to active, from this is just how things are to wait a second, I choose this. You do choose it. You get to choose it. You're allowed to choose it. But the key word is choose. So here's what I want you to do. Just one thing. This week, go back 3 months in your bank account. Write down every recurring charge you find. Just the list. Don't even do anything about it yet. Just get the list in front of you. Because awareness is where it starts. And it starts with looking, you've been paying for things for a long time without really seeing them. Let today be the day you start to see. Take care of yourself, take care of your money, and I'll see you in the next one.